It is, there we go. It is 6:33 on Monday, the 15th. We're going to call this meeting to order. This is a meeting of a regular meeting of the Select Board. First order of business, as always, is to review and make any changes to the agenda. Are there any changes to be made to the agenda? Anybody have any additions or deletions? Okay, not hearing any changes to the agenda. We'll move on to the minutes of February 15th and the minutes of March 9th. We'll start with the minutes of February 15th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of February 15th as written?
I'll make that motion.
Great, we have a motion from Mark. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Great, we have a second from Leanne. Any discussion on the minutes of February 15th? Okay, hearing none. We will give Suzanne 1 sec. Hey Suzanne, so we just took up the minutes of February 15th. Just so you know, so Mark made a motion to approve the minutes of February 15th, seconded by Leanne. And so now we are in any discussion. And not hearing any discussion on the minutes, we will call the question. All those of approving the minutes of February 15th as written, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And then any abstentions? So Emily, you'd have to abstain from that one since you weren't technically there as a board member. So
I was looking
that
for
one,
my
we'll get one
unmute
abstention.
button. I abstain.
Great. All right, so the motion passes. Now the minutes of March 9th. This was last Tuesday's special meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of March 9th as written.
Great, we have a motion from Mark. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a second from Leanne. Is there any discussion on the minutes from March 9th? All right, hearing no discussion, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries. I gotta say, the light coming through Larry's window is just beautiful. The way it do you guys see that too? It's just like these rays of sunshine and wonderfulness coming across. Anyway, I digress. Item number 3, board organization. So this is our organizational meeting. This is our first regular meeting since town meeting. So I think we've said it a few times, but formally welcome Emily to the board. It's a bummer that we can't be in person yet, but I'm hoping that by midsummer we'll be back into an in-person meeting schedule. So we'll get back on that. But welcome. It's great to have you on board. So at our first meeting after town meeting, we do a number of organizational steps. The first one is oaths of office. Emily, I believe you've already taken your oath with Liz. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Great. And Mark, did you already re-up your oath with Liz?
Yeah, I did that today. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, great. Then we're all official. We can vote on stuff. Cool. So the oaths of office are covered. The next order of business is the election of officers. So the board has a chair and a vice chair. We don't have a secretary. We typically have a clerk of the board. Genevieve serves as that role. And we don't have a treasurer of the board either. We have a municipal treasurer. So the 2 officers that we're looking to elect tonight are chair and vice chair. Just as a reminder, for election of officers or for appointments, as we're going to do next or down the line, nominations don't require a second. It's just the nominations are going to be open, nominations will close, and we'll vote. So are there any nominations for chairperson of the board?
I nominate Charlie Hancock.
Any other nominations?
See how quick I did that?
Yeah, all right. All right, hearing no other nominations, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Charlie Hancock serving as board chairman, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, thank you for your vote of confidence.
You've done
Next is vice chair.
You've done an
We'll
job.
that broke up a lot for me. I didn't hear that, so we got to take that one more time, Mark.
I said you've done an excellent job, so you can just keep right on doing it.
Oh, thank you. So if I screw up, that's how I get this. Okay, all right. I'll keep that in mind.
No.
All right, so we're going to open nominations for vice chair. Are there any nominations for vice chair?
I nominate Leanne for Bernard for vice chair.
And I was going to nominate you, Mark.
Well, I already have quite a few hats that I take care of, so
I know.
I like to see somebody else have that fun.
All right, so we have a nomination for Leanne as vice chair. Are there any other nominations? All right, hearing no other nominations, we will vote. All those in favor of Leanne serving as vice chair, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries. Leanne, congratulations.
Yay.
You'll do fine.
So the next item of business is just designated the regular meeting schedule, newspaper of record, and posting locations. These are typically kind of a pro forma thing. Hopefully they won't take up a whole lot of time tonight. But this is where we figure out basically how we disseminate information. So as a board, we have these formal places that are listed so that when folks in town want to know where to go to look for something, they know where to go to look. So first of all, designation of regular meeting schedule. Typically the board, at least as far as I've known it, has met on the first and third Monday of the month at 6:30 p.m. Is there a motion to continue that practice of first and third Monday of the month at 6:30 p.m.?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, so I think I heard Mark first, and then I'll give the second to Leanne.
Okay.
So now for any discussion, does this time not work for anybody? I don't want to just assume it does and keep rolling with it. But does anybody have any conflicts for first and third Monday at 6:30?
Hi.
Hi. Okay.
Sorry.
Hearing none, we'll call the question. That's fine. So all those in favor of the regular meeting time of the board being the first and third Monday of the month at 6:30 p.m., please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. So our regular meeting times are the first and third Monday at 6:30 p.m. Newspaper of record. This is the newspaper where any of our legal postings get sent. In the past, we have had it as the County Courier. About 4 years ago or 3 years ago, we switched to, I'm sorry, yeah, 3 years ago or 4 years ago, we switched to the Messenger. At that time, the change was made because the Messenger was a daily paper, whereas the Courier was a weekly paper. Since then, my understanding is the Courier has now gone to a 2-day-a-week schedule. I'm not sure if I have that right or not. I know that they're not a daily anymore, at least.
It's still once
No,
a
they're
week.
not a daily?
No, it's still once a week.
Wait,
The
no,
Courier.
I'm sorry. Is the Messenger a twice-a-week publication now, or is it still, it's not? Anybody know?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, Sue, did you have a?
I thought it was 4 days a week.
It's 4 days a week. Okay.
That's what I thought, yeah.
So anyway, do we have a motion to establish the newspaper of record for the town?
I'll make a motion to establish the messenger again.
Okay, we have a motion from Suzanne to establish the St. Albans Messenger as the newspaper of record. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Great, we have a second from Leanne. Is there any further discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor of St. Albans Messenger serving as the newspaper of record for the town of Montgomery, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, we have set the newspaper of record. Last one is posting locations. So our legal posting locations right now are the village post office, the center post office, the town clerk's office at the PSB, and the town website. Those are the locations where all legal notices must be posted in accordance with all the posting requirements as far as timeliness and content. Is there a motion to readopt these posting locations?
I'll make that motion to readopt the posting locations.
Great. We have a motion from Emily to readopt the posting locations of the center, the village post office, the center post office, the town clerk's office, and the town website. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Great. We have a second from Mark. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we will vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, great. We have passed or reinstated the posting locations. So item D on the agenda, this is reviewing internal board procedures and Vermont open meeting laws. We don't really have a real firm like handbook for the Montgomery Selectboard. Emily, at some point in the next week, I'd love to connect with you offline for a bit just to kind of talk about some other resources that we can send your way for stuff to read if you're interested. Also go over open meeting law, that kind of stuff. But essentially the one main board procedure that we have is that we do try to post the agenda for the regular meetings no later than the Friday afternoon before. They have to technically be posted 48 hours in advance of the meeting, but I like to get them out Friday afternoon so they can be up Saturday, as well as Sunday and then Monday. So if folks have anything that they would like to be on the agenda for the meeting, if you could please shoot that to me by like Thursday morning at 9 a.m., that'd be great. And I can be sure to include that in the warning for the agenda.
Did you say Thursday morning, Charlie? Sorry, I just didn't hear you. Did you say Thursday morning?
Yes, Thursday morning.
Great.
The Thursday morning prior to the meeting would be great. Yep.
Thanks.
Other than that, we don't really have anything else that really falls under internal board procedures. At least nothing that's coming to mind that I can think of. Like I said, Emily, I can get some more material over to you to talk about just in terms of kind of board processes and things like that. Last one is just Vermont open meeting laws. So just a reminder that all these meetings that we have are subject to Vermont's open meeting laws, which kind of provide the framework for how the meetings are conducted, the posting requirements, the minutes, and all that. The one thing to keep in mind with Vermont open meeting law is just outside of the meetings. Just as a reminder, if at any point more than 2 board members end up in the same location at the same time, we are not able to discuss any board business. So if 2 of us end up at trash together and something comes up, that's okay. But the moment 3 of us end up together at trash, that's a violation of open meeting laws if we discuss anything having to do with the board. The other one I will just remind people of is email. Just remember that any email you send that involves town business is subject to FOIA requests. So for that reason, what I would ask is if you haven't already, please make sure that I know what email address you like to be using for this, so I can make sure that any material goes right to that one. And then just remember that if you reply to an email regarding board business, typically we just ask that you don't reply all, because that can start a conversation going. The only time that we would do a reply all on an email is if it's something basic like scheduling. For example, like, hey, could you meet for a special meeting on Thursday at 6? That reply all, that kind of stuff is okay, but anything having to do with business itself, we don't want to be discussing over now. That's just kind of the overview of that material. Again, Emily, I'll get you a copy of some other stuff and a copy of the open meeting law synopsis and everything, so you can take a look at that. And then we can chat a little bit more if you have any questions. As far as reviewing and establishing areas of responsibility goes, so, you know, we do wear a number of hats here. You know, formally, Mark is the road commissioner. Mark also tends to have the pulse of the water system, just given his experience there as the former operator. So if there's something happening that's, you know, going on with board work or something happening in town, essentially, if a board member is into it and wants to, you know, dedicate time to it, then by all means, it's kind of a pick up the ball and run with it if it's a ball you want to run with. So areas of responsibility are really kind of self-designated as far as the board goes. Last but not least is the conflict of interest policy. So what I neglected to do as I was just looking at the agenda is to send that around one more time for review. It's good if everybody can read that one more time every year. So I'm going to table that tonight and we'll pick it up at the next meeting, and I'll make sure everybody has a copy of that to review so that when we vote to adopt it, we can do that, you know, everybody eyes wide open. That sound good to everybody? Okay. All right. That's it for board organization. Again, we'll circle back to the conflict of interest policy so we can readopt that after everyone has a chance to review. Next up is appointments. So if you want to follow along, there is a list in the town report. There's also a list on the town website. If you don't have that up, you don't need to. I will walk through these. But this is where we go back through the appointments that are up this year, terms expiring. So appointments, the first appointment to be made is a water commissioner. The incumbent, Mark Briette, of a 3-year term, expires 2021. Are there any nominations for a water commissioner to serve a 3-year term, which would expire 2024?
I nominate Mark Briette to continue as the water commissioner.
Okay, we have a nomination for Mark. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Mark Briette serving a 3-year term as a water commissioner, term to expire 2024, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries. Mark, you've been reappointed to the Water Commission. Next up is a water commissioner for a term of 2 years, Jacob Recuson, term expiring 2021. Do we have any nominations for a water commissioner to serve a 2-year term expiring 2024?
I will nominate Emily Kimball.
We have a nomination for Emily. Are there any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Emily Kimball serving a 2-year term as a water commissioner expiring 2024, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Congratulations, Emily. You're on the Water Commission too. Look at this, racking them up. All right, moving on to the Development Review Board. First up here is a 4-year term for a seat. Linda Kluba, term expires 2021.
I
We
nominate
have
Linda Kluber.
a nomination. Great, we have a nomination for Linda Kluba to serve a 4-year term on the Development Review Board, expiring 2025. Are there any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, we will close nominations. All those in favor of Linda Kluba serving a 4-year term on the Development Review Board to expire 2025, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, you have reappointed Linda Kluba. Next up, 4-year term on the Development Review Board, Merle Van Giesen, term expiring 2021. Do we have any nominations for a 4-year term on the Development Review Board expiring 2025?
I'll
I have a
nominate
nomination.
Merle Van Giesen.
Okay, we have a nomination for Merle Van Giesen. Other nominations? I would nominate Wendy Howard.
She's already on there as an alternate.
Wendy is on there as an alternate, but not as a seated member of the DRB.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Any other nominations? Okay, we're hearing that. We'll close nominations. So we have 2 nominations for this seat. We have a nomination for Merle Van Giesen and a nomination for Wendy Howard. All those in favor of Merle Van Giesen serving a 4-year term on the DRB, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those in favor of Wendy Howard serving a 4-year term on the DRB, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, with that, it looks like Wendy has it. Wendy has been appointed to the Development Review Board for a 4-year term expiring 2025. Next, we have to an alternate member of the Development Review Board. This is a 4-year term, Barry Cade, expiring 2021. Do we have any nominations for a alternate to the DRB? Barry Cade expires 2021. This is a 4-year term.
I'll nominate Merle for that. Can be an alternate.
Okay, we do have one other alternate that is blank too. I just want to add.
Oh, okay. Okay, so then I'll nominate Barry for this one then.
Okay, so Mark's withdrawn his nomination of Barry and he has nominated, of Merle, and he has nominated Barry. We have a nomination for Barry. Any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Barry Cade serving a 4-year term as an alternate to the DRB to expire 2025, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, great. You have appointed Barry Cade. So we do have a vacant position, which is currently vacant. It's a vacant 4-year term as an alternate to expire 2022. So this would be to appoint somebody to fill a vacant 4-year term that expires 2022.
I'll nominate Merle Van Giesen for that position.
All right, we have a nomination for Merle Van Giesen to fill the alternate position, which is currently vacant. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Merle Van Giesen filling the remainder of a 4-year term on the DRB to expire 2022, please signify by saying aye.
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 I think we had an extra vote in there somewhere, but I don't know. All right, great. You have appointed Merle Van Giesen as an alternate to the DRB.
Sorry.
No, this is great. All right, next up.
So I get to break the
agent-
news to him that he's not on the DRB anymore. He's just an alternate. I will let him know.
That'd be great, Mark. Thank you. I'll keep my phone on. Next up, we have agent to convey real estate, Barry Cade, 1-year term expiring 2021. Do we have any nominations for an agent to convey real estate?
I'll
I will
nominate Barry.
nominate Barry Cade.
Yeah.
Sorry. Any other nominations? None, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Barry Cade serving a 1-year term as an agent to convey real estate, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, great. Next, we have the Budget Committee. Scott Perry, Mark Briette, Sue Wilson, Aaron Kopax, and Charlie Hancock, all terms expiring at the 1-year term. We have nominations for the Budget Committee, and if you want, we can take this all as a slate. Move it quicker.
We'll nominate all the same slate for the Budget Committee, the same 5.
Okay, we have a nomination to reappoint the same slate for the Budget Committee. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we will call the question or proceed to voting. All those in favor of reappointing the Budget Committee as previously composed, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries. I will add that, just Emily, we only do this once a year, so this is kind of a tedious meeting, but yeah. And I will add too that the Budget Committee, those meetings are always open, so come budget season, anybody and everybody is willing to come join us for that wonderful process. Next up, Director of Disaster and Emergency Management. It's a 1-year term, Doug Kopax, term expiring. Do we have any nominations?
I'll nominate Doug Kopaz.
Great, we have one nomination. We have a nomination for Doug. Any other nominations? Hearing none, we will move on to voting. All those in favor of Doug Kopaz serving a 1-year term as the Director of Disaster and Emergency Preparedness, Emergency Management, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, you have reappointed Doug. Next up, Deputy Director of EMS, Brent Godin. 1-year term expires. Do we have any nominations?
Nominate Brent
nominate-
Godin.
Okay, I have a nomination for Brent Godin from Suzanne. Any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of Brent Godin serving as the Deputy Disaster and EMS Management. Sorry, was that a question? All those in favor? I lost count.
Aye.
What were we doing?
Aye.
Did we vote on that? Yes, aye, right, Brent?
Yes.
Okay, we have reappointed Brent, sorry. Brain skipped a beat there. All right, moving on, fence viewers. These are 3 positions, all expiring 2021 that were held by the listers. Are there any nominations for fence viewers?
I'll nominate the listers for the 3
Okay, we have a
terms.
nomination for the listers. Any other nominations for fence viewers? All right, not
Oh,
hearing any other
Genevieve.
nomination.
I just have a
Charlie.
question since I'm one of them. What is that? What's a fence viewer? Curious. It's probably one of those old sort of things, I'm guessing, like
Yeah.
coal wear,
It's-
but
If I
I
had,
had the
one of
same
those-
question.
if I have a dispute with my neighbor over the fence line, you would have to come up and look at the fence and handle the dispute.
Yeah. If you ever want to know what that really is like, you can pull the minutes from the Stanion case a few years ago, but I digress. Anyway. We have a nomination for the listers to serve as the fence viewers. Hearing no other nominations, we will close nominations. All those in favor of the listers serving as the fence viewers, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. You have appointed the listers as the fence viewers. I'm sure they're psyched. Next, we've got the representative to the Transportation Advisory Board. This is a one-year term. Mark Briette, term expires. Do we have any nominations for the representative to the Transportation Advisory Board? I will nominate Mark. Any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Mark serving as the town's rep to the Transportation Advisory Board, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Next up is the alternate to the Transportation Advisory Board, one-year term, Mike Snyder, term expiring. Do we have any nominations for the alternate to the Transportation Advisory Board?
I'll nominate Michael.
We have a nomination for Mike Snyder. Is there any other nominations? Hearing none, we will vote. All those in favor of Michael Snyder serving as the alternate on the Transportation Advisory Board, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, thank you. Recreation Board, we have 3 seats up. These are 3-year terms. These are 3 seats that are up this year with 3-year terms. Peg Doney, Nelson Mayhew, and Lisa Perry. It's my understanding that all 3 of them would like to continue to serve on the board.
So I will nominate
Take
Peg.
these.
Can we do all 3? I'll nominate Peg Doney, Nelson Mayhew, and Lisa Perry for the Recreational Board.
Great. We have a nomination for Peg Doney, Nelson Mayhew, and Lisa Perry, all to be appointed to 3-year terms on the rec board expiring 2025. Any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Peg Doney, Nelson Mayhew, and Lisa Perry being appointed to serve a 3-year term on the rec board, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Charlie?
Yes.
Charlie, I think the term is up in 2024, a 3-year term.
I'm sorry. So it is a 3-year term. I misspoke. It is a 3-year term. It would be up in 24, not 25. Apologies, but it is a 3-year term. Great. So I'm pretty sure that passed. That was an affirmative appointment,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Okay, great. Next up, we have zoning administrator. This is for a 3-year term. Ellen Fox, term expires. Is there a appointment for zoning administrator for a 3-year term?
I nominate Ellen Fox.
Any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of Ellen Fox serving a 3-year term as zoning administrator, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Animal control officer, Sue, that was Dorothy Preston. Dorothy Preston was appointed to that position. Next up, MRBA Wild and Scenic Rep. These are 2 positions, both of which expire this year. They're a 1-year term. Misty McCartney and Carissa Stein, term expiring. Do we have nominations for the MRBA Wild and Scenic Rep? This is two positions.
Do we know if they want to do that still?
They don't
I
have a
believe
choice.
they're both, yeah, they don't have a choice.
Then I will nominate Carissa Stein and Misty McCartney for.
I know that Carissa wants it. I don't know about
Great.
this.
So we have a nomination for Misty and Carissa. Are
They
there
are
any
here
other
to say no.
nominations? Yeah, beauty of it. Hearing no other nominations, we will close nominations. All those in favor of Misty and Carissa serving the 1-year term to the MRBA Wild and Scenic Representative, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. So next up is the Community Garden Board. This is well, it's a 5 to 6 member board. Currently, there's only 2 members on the board, Remy Graton and Wendy Howard. These are 1-year terms. All terms expired this year. So we're going to open nominations for the Community Garden Board. And I would submit a slate, including Hannah Sorensen, Tiffany Jones, Remy Grattan, Wendy Howard, and Genevieve Lodell Guild. So that's a slate of 5 to serve a 1-year term.
Do we need
Yeah,
to?
I guess there are technically seven positions here. I was only given 5 names that were interested in this one, which is why I've only put forward a slate of 5.
Yeah.
So again, the slate that I
Charlie, could you
nominated.
repeat them?
So the slate I nominated was Hannah Sorensen, Tiffany Jones, Remy Grattan, Wendy Howard, and Genevieve Lodell Guild. Sorry, Genevieve. I don't know why I
Who
can't.
was the 5th one?
Genevieve.
Oh,
Any other nominations for Community Garden Board?
Do we need to nominate 7 seats?
We don't have to. I mean, we can always nominate folks down the line if they have people that want to fill a vacancy. So if anybody has any other names tonight they want to put forward, we certainly can, but we don't need to if we don't have anybody.
I don't know if Cassandra Krieger, I know she did it quite a bit the last couple of years.
Sure. You want to add Cassandra Krieger to that slate? Sure. So we have an addition of Cassandra Krieger. Any other nominations? All right, hearing none, we will close nominations. All those in favor of Hannah Sorensen, Tiffany Jones, Remy Grattan, Wendy Howard, Genevieve Lodell Guild, and Cassandra Krieger serving a 1-year term on the Community Garden Board, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries. All right, next up, we've got the Conservation Commission. So I'm not sure what copy of things you might be looking at, but there were some edits to this that had to get made to bring it up to date. In addition to the membership that was listed, we also have 3 additional members which were since appointed by the board. I'm sorry, 2 additional members. This was Susan Baker, who was appointed for a 4-year term expiring 2024. John Kurlowski, who was appointed to a 4-year term expiring 2024. And then Jewett was appointed to the remainder of a 4-year term, which Misty McCartney resigned from. So tonight we have 2 reappointments, and then we have a request for an additional appointment to the board. So the 2 seats that are open this year are 4-year terms expiring 2021. So these would be 4-year terms expiring 2025. Those are Sue Wilson and Carissa Stein, terms both expiring. So do we have any nominations to fill 2 4-year term seats expiring 2025 on the Conservation Commission?
I nominate Sue Wilson and Carissa Stein.
Great. We have a nomination for Sue and Carissa. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of Sue and Carissa serving a 4-year term on the Conservation Commission, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. We also had a request from the Conservation Commission to seat 1 individual member in a new seat. This would be a 4-year term expiring 2025, and this is Patrick Kalikas. This would make it a 10-member board, which is still within the maximum range for the board composition. So this would be appointing an additional 4-year seat to the Conservation Commission, term expiring 2025. And I would nominate Patrick Kalikas. That's who's been advanced by the commission. Any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, we will close nominations. All those in favor of Patrick Kalikas serving a 4-year term on the Conservation Commission, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries. Up is the news editor. It's a one-year term, Suzanne Delois, expiring 2021. Do we have any nominations for newsletter editor?
I'll nominate Suzanne.
Great. Any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, we'll call the question. All those in favor of Suzanne serving as newsletter editor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Great. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Excellent. Motion carries, or nomination carries, or you've elected. I don't know what the current is. Financial Controls Officer. This is a 3-year term expiring 2021. Sue Wilson. This is a 3-year term for Financial Controls Officer. Nominations.
I'll nominate Sue Wilson.
Can I
Great.
just clarify, Charlie, you said that expires 2020, it would be 2024, correct?
Yes, so the 2021 was the term expiring. This would be a 2024 expiration date for a 3-year
Thank
term. Correct. Yep. We have a nomination for Sue Wilson. Any other nominations? All right,
She's
hearing
doing a
no-
good job.
Hearing no other nominations, we'll vote. All those in favor of Sue Wilson serving as Financial Controls Officer, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, great. All right, the last 3, these are probably the most important ones in the whole community. Inspector of Lumber, Shingles, and Wood. This is a 1-year term, Wendy Howard term expiring. Do we have any nominations for Inspector of Lumber, Shingles, and Wood?
I'll nominate Wendy.
We have a
Yeah.
nomination for Wendy Howard. Any other nominations? All right, hearing none, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Wendy Howard serving another term as Inspector of Lumber, Shingles, and Wood, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Next up is Tree Warden. This is a 1-year term, Charlie Hancock, term expiring 2021. Do we have any nominations for Tree Warden?
I nominate Charlie Hancock.
Any other nominations?
Going once?
Hearing no other nominations, we'll move the vote. All those in favor of Charlie Hancock serving as Tree Warden for a 1-year term, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, thank you very much. Last up, Ware of Coal, 1-year term, Jacob Recusen, term expiring. Any nominations for Ware of Coal?
I nominate Jacob. I think he still needs that job.
I think he does too. Any other nominations for Ware of Coal? Hearing no other nominations for Ware of Coal, we will call the question. All those in favor of Jacob Recusen serving as Ware of Coal for a 1-year term, please signify by saying aye.
Yes.
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, you have elected Jacob Recusen, Ware of Coal, and I'm sure he is eternally grateful. And that is appointments. Thank you. That probably went faster than it has in many years, to be honest. So great, appointments are done. With that, we will move on with the agenda. Oh wait. At this point, I am going to pause actually, since it is 7:17. I do want to just pause right now, and if there's no objection, we'll do visitors. I did see that we've got Sue, Larry, and Howard here, so I do just want to open the floor for anything from visitors. Sue, I believe you might have been the first one here. Do you have anything for visitors?
No, I have nothing.
No? Okay. Howard, anything for visitors tonight?
No, just listening. You learn a lot by listening.
Great. Well, it's good to have you here. Larry and Anita, anything for visitors tonight?
Hi, how's your mood?
Mood? I'm pissy, Larry.
I had a conversation with a young individual the other day, trying to make me realize that I probably ought to be supporting the sewer system tax vote. And I tried to do some research, and I have some questions based on that conversation. I was trying to do some research. The to understand why they were right. And if I go back to the town report, if you have one handy,
I do, always.
and I do hope Erin is still on. She can
Aaron's not
probably
on
answer,
this one.
huh?
Aaron's not on this call, no.
Okay, just real quick on pages 22, 23, I believe it is, income and expenses.
Yep.
There's a thing there year-to-date on particularly the expenses. Do you know when the
Yep.
cutoff date, you know when the cutoff date of that year-to-date was?
Yeah,
Of the expenses, wasn't it December 31st?
I,
Did that say year-to-date 2020 instead of 2021?
well, so it would be year-to-date FY '21. It technically, so that would still carry through. I can check with Aaron. I thought it was December 31st, but I could be wrong because I remember we still had questions about the unreserved fund number. And I don't know if she ended up pushing out the calculations, but I will clarify that with Aaron.
And the reason I bring that to your attention is that the salaries on page 28 shows the town crew being paid a salary of $153,000. That's $54,000 different than what's reported on what is it, page 23, I believe.
I'm sorry, you're looking at,
Line 43, page 23 states
Yeah.
year to date 207,000, I believe it is, if I'm looking at this correctly. However, over on page 28, I believe it is, where they list the salaries, they show $153,000. That's $54,000 difference. So I'm wondering where the year to date it came from. It's difficult for me to follow in my research.
yeah.
Does the
so I-
207 include the benefits?
Yeah, I think 207 includes everything. So whereas salary is just the pay, that doesn't
Yeah.
include MERS, healthcare, all that jazz.
Yeah,
Can you follow up that they would equal?
Yeah, I can follow
Yes.
up and get you, I can get you the crosswalk on the numbers, but the short answer is that the 28, page 28 numbers don't reflect things that play into the line 43 numbers.
Thank you. The other thing is, and I guess this is for Mr. Goatee, and I could have asked him today, this in the parking lot when we had a nice conversation.
and I called you a young man.
Yeah, how is the state aid done? Is it a set rate by class road, or is it changed from year to year, or what?
No, it's based on, every year we get a sheet that says if our road miles changed at all. So it's so much per mile, for the roads. Then every year we do a financial statement showing that we pay so much of a percentage. So it's sort of almost the same every year because it goes
So
on the
you're saying
road. Yeah.
you're saying it's based on the percentage of your present expenses to maintain those roads?
No, it's based on the miles of roads.
Okay,
And so, but then we have to do a budget formula showing that we pay like 75%. So that we're paying enough. So it's really about the same because it's paid on the mileage. And usually it may change by a cent or two, the base rate, but it's usually about the same every year, the state aid.
thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. No wonder you're road commissioner.
Yeah.
That's all I have. Thank you. Oh, I do have one other thing. The young man I had the conversation with the other day, we talked about communication with older folks and people with a lack of technology or not wanting to use technology. I'm just wondering if it would be in order for a quarterly summary be sent out to mailing to be sent out to the general public about major issues. I'm not talking about dog catcher and everything else, but major issues that are going on in the town by the select board to be considered.
That'd be kind of a cool idea. Instead of doing the state of the town letter annually, we could do a quarterly one.
That's my thought. I thought, if we want to get some of those people involved and know what's going on and not
Yeah.
even ask, how do I get it? How do I get an absentee ballot, which I heard before this last ballot, it may involve more people. You had a lot of people that voted no on everything but one or two things.
Yeah.
And that's because, and that may be very well, they haven't been paying attention to what's going on. Just a
Yeah,
thought.
no, I think that sounds like a great idea, Larry. I thought you were gonna say, in order to get the older people to listen, we have to just talk louder.
No, that's not it. You need to buy more beer.
Oh, more beer. Okay, I got you. All right, well, that's a great idea though, Larry. I think it's a good idea. So thank you for that. All right, so with that, we're gonna move back to Public Works and crank through the rest of the agenda. Item 1 under Public Works is just grant updates. I don't have anything specific for grant updates this evening. I did notice, Mark, that Linda did forward a copy of the Dubois King plans that had V-Trans notes on them. I don't know if you had a chance to look through that at all.
No, I haven't looked at
I mean,
it.
it was mostly just stuff that didn't, I mean, it was just little notes from V-Trans, but if you have a chance just to scroll through, the PDF has all of their comments. This is in regards to the Longley Bridge Road tap project that we're working on with the stream bank stabilization. So if you have a chance to look at it, go for it. There was no glaring questions or anything. It was just a chance to see if anything stood out to us.
Okay.
So other than that, I don't have anything else under roads and bridges. And then you've got, Mark?
No, see, Jeff Cattell got done for us part-time. So I told Michael, I said, if he needs to hire an extra truck or anything to help him through mud season till we get somebody else hired, to go ahead, because sometimes we need a couple trucks to haul when we get into real muddy
Okay.
time. So
Great.
I gave him the go ahead on that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And we do have the position posting finished now. So I think Liz said that's gone out. It'll go out in the papers, and we've got one applicant who has submitted an application. So hopefully between now and our next meeting, we'll have a few more come in that we can review.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So great. All right, cool. Moving on then to buildings and grounds. So first item here is just carried over. It's the 98 Main Street location. There's no updates on that front at all. Have had no correspondence with the post office. The only nice thing is they put up a new ATM sign that looks nice. So, you know, got that going for us. But yeah, other than that, no news on the 98 Main Street building. The public service building and the town office renovations RFPs. So like we had talked about before, after town meeting, we were going to circle back to that. So we'll pick that up now that we're past town meeting and start working on an RFP. Jacob did mention that he would be able or willing to kind of put his head together on that a little bit. So I might circle back to Jacob and take him up on that. And we'll see if we can get an RFP drafted in the next week or so to get out for the design services that we're looking at. So keep an eye out for that.
So speaking of that building, we had problems with the furnace up there today.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so the furnace had issues today. This has been an off and on ongoing problem with that furnace. The long and short of it is that Mercy basically said I could charge you $700 to Band-Aid it like we did last time, and it'll fail again at some point, or I can charge you $1,700 and I can fix it for good. He got the green light to fix it for good because that's why he was there. So we're going to go ahead and get the PSB furnace fixed. That should get rid of the issue that we've had this kind of every 6 to 7 months, whatever, heat kicking off. Yeah. when I got that call, I was like, no, Liz, it's the Grange Hall furnace. And she was like, no, it's the public service building furnace.
I said the same thing. I said the same thing to her when I was talking
I
to
was
her.
like, stop breaking the furnaces. Yeah. So anyway, but speaking of the Grange Hall furnace, have we gotten a quote from Rondo's?
No, Michael said he hadn't got anything yet. So
Good luck.
So are we at a point
Yeah.
where we just want to pull the trigger on Mercy's?
I think so. I mean, I don't think they were too interested in doing it anyways. And
Okay.
John's done good work for us in the past, and
Okay.
you know, I think we
Um,
just need to pull the trigger. I think.
Okay, well, if that's the case, I'm not gonna sit around and wait any longer, so I would move that the board accepts John Mercy's quote to replace the furnace in the Grange Hall.
That quote. What was it? Not to exceed 19,000, or
Yeah,
I think it was.
I'm gonna try
It was
to,
8. It was 18.8 or something like that. I think. I got it somewhere here.
it was 17,790. Yeah, it was 11,790 for materials and 6,000 for labor. So I would move to accept the quote from John Mercy to replace the Grange Hall furnace in the amount not to exceed $18,000.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded to accept John Mercy's quote for the Grange Hall furnace. Is there any further discussion? Just a reminder that this was baked into the building capital budget, the reserve fund budget. So we kind of expected this.
Mhm.
All right, hearing no other discussion, we'll call the question. All those in favor of accepting John Mercy's quote for the Grange Hall furnace in the amount not to exceed $18,000, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, we've accepted John's quote. Mark, do you want to let John know or let Michael know or?
Yeah, I'll let him know. Yeah.
Okay, great.
I had another question. Did we budget for the paving of the public safety building?
Yeah,
Or-
we included that in the capital improvement budget.
Michael said he was gonna try to get some quotes together and get it out there, so.
That'd be
know,
great.
When
We
they get
do
started.
have- Yeah, because we do have one quote that came in, but if he wants to get a few more to add to Pikes, that'd be great.
Yeah, I wanted to get a few more. Yeah.
Great, good.
Okay.
All right, with that, we are through buildings and grounds. Next is just a FEMA update. The only update on this is just that we are continuing to get money in. Like I said last time, all of our workbooks have been submitted. The way the process works is the workbooks get submitted. After that, FEMA headquarters double checks them and then shoots it back to us with any questions, after which we sign off and they issue payment. And so we've now signed off and issued payment on, I want to say like 80 to 90% of our projects. So I expect maybe 1 or 2 more payment issuances and then we're going to be done. So we're kind of coming to the home stretch with FEMA, which is great. So that's it for FEMA. Moving on in the agenda, we've covered visitors, water commission issues. The only kind of thing to flag here is that our contract with SOS is going to be coming up soon, expiring. So Mark.
Yeah, it expires in the end of October.
Yeah.
So I'm setting up a meeting with SOS. Sounds like they can do it Thursday at noon, Charlie, if you want to go over the contract at the
Okay.
water.
Sure,
Yeah.
this Thursday at noon.
Yeah, at the water plant. We'll go over the
Great.
contract.
Okay, great. So Thursday at noon, we will meet to discuss the contract. If anybody wants to join us, we'll be at the water plant at noon. If anybody's able to make it down there and wants to.
Yeah. There's actually, we'll see if we can hold them to the same price. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay.
There's actually another company that's doing it now too, so I may reach out to them to see, have them give us a quote too, but
Great.
I mean, because, we'll see what they can offer us.
Yeah, totally. All right,
Yeah.
great. So Thursday at noon, we'll meet to discuss the contract with SOS. If anybody can make it, you're welcome to join us. But we will bring that back before the whole board, obviously, before making any decisions on that.
And we're working on updating the source protection plan right now. That's overdue. So Ross, we're working on that and to get that updated.
Great.
The same. Yeah.
Thanks. I see a hand waving in the air above where I think Larry's head is. Yeah.
Have we been pretty satisfied with SOS service?
Yeah, we have. Yeah. Yeah, they've been doing a good job. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, with that, we're going to move into old business. First item here is just a holdover at every meeting, just to make a space for COVID-19, any kind of municipal response or local response news. I don't have anything specific on this one. You know, I think just judging by how many posts I see on Facebook about it, I think the whole town was vaccinated by now. But I know that people are moving into it. I think the case counts are dropping some, but they still do remain high in this part of the state compared to elsewhere. So we do want to stay vigilant, make sure people are still, you know, doing all the masking requirements, et cetera, and all that kind of stuff. But it is starting to kind of look like there might be a light towards the end of the tunnel somewhere. Anybody else have anything for this item here? Again, it's kind of an open space for any kind of comments, questions, concerns. Okay, that's cool. We'll keep on moving on. So item B here, the wastewater streetscape projects. So we discussed this quite a bit last Tuesday when we met, just to kind of see where the board was at and where the next steps were for this. So we don't need to spend a whole lot of time on this tonight. But I will just add that there has been some movement last week into this week around the state's plans for allocation of funding from the feds. And so I am trying to set up another call with some state folks just to see kind of where that might fit into the framework that we're looking at. I don't know exactly the framework that they're calling, but essentially the stuff I was looking at said that municipalities would be eligible for funding for municipal infrastructure projects pegged as a percentage of their municipal budget. I really don't know what that means, but I'm hoping to get some clarity on that this week so that essentially we can have more information to kind of gauge our next steps on that front. So again, nothing really big to add since we talked last week. Main waiting thing here is that we are still in that reconsideration period. And this goes for anything from town meeting, and so that 30-day window is still in play as far as any kind of petitions for reconsideration, should they be regarding this project or anything else that was voted on. So again, no other news at this time. Any other questions from the board or anything that might have come up since our last meeting that anyone's got on their mind?
Have you looked into trying to, instead of the 6 cents, doing it lower? Anything looked into that, or?
Yeah, so we still have the framework set up that looks at all the options. And essentially when you bring in funding from one spot, the funding from the other spot decreases. So we do have that set now where we could look to bring in the impact fees to reduce the tax amount. We could also tweak some of the growth projections. So yeah, that is something we can look at. And that we have the framework for. I think the main question at this point is whether or not we're going to get a petition which would force us to put the same question back versus our ability to redo that framework and then put it back out to them some point in, you know, May or June or even July after we've had a chance to chew on it some more.
I'd rather have us look at it and try to put it back out with a different amount, a lower amount, and see. I mean, I don't know if it'll go with the same amount, but if we can look at it and do it before we get a petition, and try to do a lower amount. I'm not sure if that would work better or not. I mean,
yeah. I mean, the petition is going to be the big trigger in terms of you know, if we do get a petition for it, we have to put it back out the same way. But we do have that framework to kind of play with the numbers. I don't know if we can get that to a place between now and the end of the month, which is when
Oh,
the
okay.
deadline would be.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we're kind of under the gun there. So we're a little bit at the mercy of a petition at this point.
Mhm.
But we do have the framework in place to keep tweaking the numbers.
okay.
Any other questions or thoughts on this one before we move on? All right, well, I will, I'll keep sending updates to the board as things kind of, as we find out more about this. So just keep an eye on your email. The Communication Union District update. I had mistakenly, I thought that they were looking for a letter of support from the community for this tonight. What they are looking for is letters of support from local businesses. And so I sent Everett, who's our representative to the board, a list of ones that came to my mind. But if or when he comes back with any more clarity, I might forward that response to the board. And if anybody has any other ideas of businesses that can supply a letter of support for the project, that would be great, because they're trying to go after a lot of this federal funding too. And ideally what they're looking for is letters of support from businesses which are in the underserved parts of the community. So, you know, people who might not be running a business right on Main Street, but might have a business somewhere back, you know, back in the back part of town that's still on Fairpoint, thinking about home-based enterprises, those kinds of things. So keep an eye out for that, please. And if that comes out and there's an opportunity to share that with business owners in the community, please do. Anything else under old business? All right, hearing nothing else under old business, we're going to move on to new business. Town meeting recap, action items, next steps. So we've talked a fair amount about the next steps around the wastewater and the streetscapes projects, and as well as the petitions as they relate to any petitions we might get in for reconsideration. At this point, there are no other, you know, next steps per se. I did just want to have this item here to open it up in case anybody had any other questions or general thoughts coming out of town meeting. You know, the main next steps are going to be waiting for any petitions for consideration, notification to the state of certain things, you know, certain articles that passed, which have some bearing for the state. But anything else on town meeting, just want to make a space for any reflections there, questions anybody has. If not, I mean, it was a town meeting like no other, that's for sure. So I think we managed to come through it pretty well, though. I got to say, like, the voter turnout was pretty strong. You know, I think we managed what we had, given what we had, in a way that was commendable. So thanks to everybody.
I hope we can go back to a normal one next year. And I kind of like the whole thing of the town meeting, and kind of missed that this year. So,
Yeah.
you know, seeing all the residents and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say I certainly missed the floor debate. I certainly missed the element of the ability to convince your neighbors, basically. And there's got to be something to be said for the ability to just learn. You know, people come to town meeting sometimes not knowing what they're going to vote on, but before they vote, they'll know because their neighbors are going to tell them at town meeting. So yeah, I certainly missed that aspect of it. Okay, well, if nothing else under town meeting, like I said, we'll just keep the ball rolling. Main thing now is the reconsideration period, which will expire end of this month, and that'll kind of give us a little bit more definitive direction on what the next steps are with things. Okay, next up under new business, the rec board reached out and asked whether or not the select board would be open to the rec board utilizing some of the open space at the public service building for recreational activities. Two things that they have specifically asked about was a bocce ball court and a skate park. So some small facility for kids who like to skateboard, or I guess rollerblade too would work in that. So I just wanted to get the board's feedback on any thoughts around that open space. So if you drive into the PSB, you have the Northwest Solid Waste District facility on your left. On your right, you have some beautiful young, not so young blueberry bushes, and then some open space all the way up to the playground. So the rec board is wondering about that open space and whether or not that's something that they could kind of add to their portfolio of areas that they manage.
I believe that open space is where the septic system is, I think. So plowing that all winter might be an issue of freezing. I'm not sure. I believe that's where it is. So opening up that all winter, I'm not sure if that would be a good idea.
So I guess in the winter time, if it was a bocce ball court and like a skate
Probably
rink,
when
Yeah,
Yeah.
bocce ball would be the summer.
skating rink would be, or yeah.
well, I think it's just like roller skating or skateboarding would be the skate
Oh,
park
okay.
thing.
So it's mostly summer. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing they could use it for cornhole, bocce ball and cornhole.
Any other thoughts from the board?
I think that's a good idea. People love to play bocce ball around here. I don't know about the skate park so much. Like, what would be the litigation factors for that and insurance thing? Yeah,
Also, presumably a skate park would require like concrete and some infrastructure installation that if there's a septic there wouldn't be suitable. Although it's a great idea. I just don't know if that's the spot for it.
Yep.
What about insurance?
And
Yeah, I think the insurance question is a good one.
Cornhole would be good.
So I think, ideally what I'd like to do is we can, if the board is okay with it or is okay to kind of move with it, what I would ask the rec department to do is come back with a more defined proposal around kind of what exactly where, show us a map, show us a schematic. But in general, does anybody have any concerns with the rec department utilizing that space or with the kind of uses that we've talked about? Or is there anything else that the board thinks of that, like, hey, we don't have axe throwing, we could use an axe throwing. I mean, like anything else that we like.
You mean a select board meeting with axe throwing, that would be good.
Yeah. Larry brings the beer and we're all set to go. All right. I mean, if there's no other thoughts about it, yeah, Sue, go ahead.
With using that area down there wouldn't affect anything that you might be planning for the public safety building.
Yeah, so as far as
It's
public
way
safety
there,
building itself goes, yeah, I think that would be an expansion that would move out if the library moved out. Yeah, we would not bring them towards the front.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any considerations that need to be thought of with regard to parking if there are a lot of people there, and how that could impact the fire department if there is an emergency?
Yeah, that's a great question, Emily, and one that I asked Marcia to think about. Yeah, because I think, like, on Saturdays, we have since got them to redo their lanes, so the front is always kept open. So we would want to make sure that whatever activity was going on was structured in a way whereby none of that got screwed up. So both the fire, emergency services, also like if there was a Saturday morning bocce game, how would that work with the trash? So there's some logistical things to figure out, certainly.
Charlie, when you go back to them, I don't know if they're, I'm sure that the MCA also, like, there's a fair amount of grass space behind the building there, and we are trying to start advocating for more outdoor activities associated with that building. So another alternate site for like a bocce or a cornhole or whatever as an outdoor space if they wanted to consider it or come to the MCA with that.
Cool. Great. or potentially combining them if there was
Yeah.
more things going on. Yeah,
You have to, with the MCA, you really have to look at the survey because the MCA does not own all of that property on the left behind the parsonage. That's owned by the house on the other side of the parsonage.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
okay. Well, we'd have to look at kind of space, but that's a good, but I do know that they were talking, I think Brendan was talking about a trail that goes from the MCA to the PSB at one point. So I think they are thinking about how to integrate those things.
We would like to do that, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, if there's no like big red flags or big objections, what I'll ask the rec board to do is come back with a more defined proposal, exactly looking at kind of like, what is it? How would it lay? What would parking be? How would you handle X, Y, and Z? So if that sounds good, I will ask him to bring back that proposal. Great. All right, next up is the driveway permit for Tracy and Michelle Jolly. Mark, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, so Michael met with the owners, and Paul Sylvester is going to put the driveway in. It doesn't need a culvert. So knowing that Paul Sylvester is putting it in, it looks like they're going to try to put it in June. So I approved the permit. So I don't see any other problems with it.
Okay. Great. Mark, it sounds like Mark has signed off on his end. So then I guess the motion for the board would be just to approve the driveway permit for Tracy and Michelle Jolly.
Mm.
So I will make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 I
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I'm going to abstain. I'm unfamiliar.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, then Emily, I'll make a note I'll go over that process with you and stuff so we can kind of chat about what's going on. Yeah, perfect. All right, so that carries.
I'll leave it up at the office for people to sign it. And then I'll let them know it's approved. Yeah.
Great, thanks, Mark. Okay, next up is overweight truck permits. We've got like 100 of these to do tonight. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just screen share my way through them so Mark can take a look at the weights and we can approve them as we go. So first up is all right, first up this evening, can everybody see my screen? Okay, first up is Cardinal Logistics Management Corporation. Can you see the weights right here, Mark?
Yes, I can.
Does that look good to you?
Yeah, that looks fine.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve Cardinal Logistic
Well,
Management.
why don't we, let's go through
Just do
all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do one motion. So that's Cardinal. Cardinal has been looked at. Cardinal has been approved. Next up, we've got Chevalier Drilling Corporation. How do those look, Mark?
Yeah, those look all right.
Those look good?
Yeah.
All right, Chevalier is good. Now we have Jack F. Course. See attached. Oops, hold on. Hold on. I don't know if these have,
Yeah, they do way over here, way to the right.
ah,
Yeah.
oh, I got you. Can you see
Yeah.
the look, Mark?
Yeah, those look fine.
Those look good?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Jack. This is John French. Can you see those okay?
Yeah. Yeah, it looks all right. The 108's a little questionable, but that looks like it's a big trailer.
Okay.
equipment trailer. So yeah, that should be.
All right, so John French looks good. Oh, excuse me. Next up is Kennedy Excavation, 1 truck, 4 axle.
Yeah, that looks fine.
Kennedy looks good, great. Kilborn Transport. This is Ag Products, 6 axles, 99,000.
Yeah, that looks all right.
All right. Next up, NA Minash. See attached. This is for NA Minash.
Yeah, those all look good.
All right, if NA Minash looks good, we're gonna move to New England Quality Service.
Yeah, those look good. Scrap metal. Yeah.
All right. Next, we've got Newton Dubois or Newton Dubois, depending on where you're from and how you pronounce it. Here's another one with the 6 axle 108.
Yeah, I think that's with a 6 axle. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right, if these look good, then we will do on-site septic.
Yeah, those look good.
All right, if those look good, and the last one we're doing is Structural Wood Corp, roof trusses, 4 axle and a 5 axle.
Yeah, that looks good.
All right, great. So if those all look good, then I would entertain a motion to approve the overweight truck permits for Cardinal, Chevalier, Jack F. Corse, John French, Kennedy Excavation, Kilborn Transport, NA Minash, NEQS, Newton Dubois, sites, on-site septic, and structural wood.
I'll make that motion.
Great, we have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Great, we have a second from Leanne. Is there any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving the overweight truck permits as described, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, so I'll swing by and sign those with the stamp. Next up, we have the tobacco liquor licenses. We have liquor licenses tonight from the Black Lantern Inn and the Snowshoe Pub. These are renewals of their licenses. Do we have a motion to renew the licenses for the Black Lantern Inn and the Snowshoe Pub?
I'll make that motion.
Great, we have a motion from Leanne to renew the licenses for the Black Lantern Inn and the Snowshoe Pub. Is there a
I'll
second?
second.
We have a motion or a second from Suzanne. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of renewing the licenses for the Black Lantern Inn and the Snowshoe Pub, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, you have approved the renewal of the licenses. With that, we are through our agenda, and I gotta say, for an organizational meeting with appointments, to be done with that before 8 o'clock is actually like, I don't know, kind of crazy. So if there's no other business to be done before the board this evening, motion to adjourn is always in order.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Great, we have a motion to adjourn from Suzanne. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second from Leanne. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we will vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, well, thanks so much, everybody.